Mirzapur, even though it's a very different character, is a very dark space.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
And that
totally.
house is a very dark house. The Tripathi house is a very dark house. And yeah, I remember when Divyendu and I were shooting for season 1. At one point, Divyendu and I were just sitting next to each other. Nobody has anything to say. We are so spent. Right? Khatam, they have nothing to offer to anybody. And then suddenly Divyendu turns to me and says, "It's very dark." And I'm like, yeah. Right before that was a film called Hamid, which I had done, which I play a Kashmiri woman whose husband is missing. And when I was offered that part, I said, मुझे नहीं करना है, because आप वहाँ से किसी को cast करो. When I'm acting with Pankaj, I feel he's not doing anything much. And then I watched the scene later and I realized he's done a million things. And I was like, either I was not paying attention or he's just so good at his craft. And Pankaj makes everything look easy. He'll take the script and put it under the tablecloth on the table and then do a fabulous scene. And you know, he's just so good with his craft and he knows these things. He's very, very good. So there are things that I feel he's done nothing in the scene, and then when I watch it, I'm like, my God, I really don't know anything. I'm amateur. He knows his stuff.
Hello and welcome to Masala Chat, a chat show about the lives lived, the memories cherished, and the adventures which lie ahead of those unique personalities we love to watch and admire, with a sprinkling of spices and lots of masaledar gupshup. I'm Alekh Sangal, your Masala Maverick, and our guest today is one of the finest performers we've all had the privilege of watching on screen for almost 20 years now. Her brilliance and versatility shines through every role she enacts. Her magic unfolds through every moment she creates. It is my absolute and pristine pleasure to welcome my favorite actress in the whole wide world, the marvelous, the splendid, the incomparable Rasika Dugal.
Thank you. You should have said most favorite co-actor.
No, you're my favorite actress in the whole wide world. It's not co-actor, you're actually the actress that I absolutely love watching. I have seen everything you've done. And
I will believe.
I do make it a point to watch everything that you do, because I absolutely love where you started and how far you've come. Your journey has been very special for me as well, because I have been a part of it on two very special occasions.
Yes.
And just asking you the question which you've been asked all the time ever since you did season 1 of the show: when is Mirzapur 4 coming?
And I'll give the answer that I give every time. I don't know. Really.
Better still, when is Mirzapur the movie coming?
Again, I don't know.
I don't know, right? So how has this been? How has this the Mirzapur experience been for you? I'm going to start off from there, because it's been, I know you've been so excited about it and you keep getting asked this question everywhere you go. When we were doing all the press for Fairy Folk,
Exactly.
That's all they wanted to know, right? They wanted to talk about Fairy Folk. This is what to talk about. And is Mirzapur 3 coming? You know, that was a question, right?
To the point that Karan, who was the director of Fairy Folk, decided, he said that, I'm just going to put Fairy Folk along with the trailer of Mirzapur. Just put it there.
But how has that experience been to be a part of a show which is such a blockbuster, and to do that role that you've done, which is such a risque role in that sense, and to kind of pull it off with that conviction? How has that journey been for you?
It's actually, when I look at it as a journey today, it feels like, wow, so many beautiful things happened. But of course, none of this was expected. None of it was planned at all. It was basically the same kind of stuff that happens to us all the time, where you get approached for something and you're like, oh, I'm excited about it, let's do it. And we've not thought ki iska kya hone wala hai, where is this going to go, what is going to happen to it, is it going to have an audience or not. I'm not one of those actors who's able to think like that. So Mirzapur pretty much happened like that. I heard Karan Anshuman is making, our common friend Karan Anshuman is making a show, and I said, you know how it is with friends, sometimes you feel odd to call them up, because you're like, in case they don't want you on the show, then they don't have an easy out, and you don't want to make it awkward for the other person. And somebody said, yeah, he's your friend, it's okay, but just make just call him.
Reach out.
Just reach out, because sometimes you're not on. You just need to remind people.
You're not on the radar, and they're not thinking about you.
Of it or whatever. And I'm so glad
You did.
I sent one message which made Mirzapur happen. And when we were filming it, none of us thought that it was going to get the audience that it did. And even when it released, we didn't sort of understand the potential of it. But yes, it's got a very big fan following, and every day that you're reminded of that, you really feel like, oh wow, something really fun happened to me that could have easily not happened,
Right.
And the funny thing is that this is the kind of role, this is an aberration from what I normally get, right? And this became the one that became most popular. So everything else that I had done up until that time, and a little bit after also, nothing is like Beena Tripathi, because that's completely different from me, or completely different from the side of myself that I allow myself to practice in life.
Okay.
Because I believe that all of us are many kinds of people, and it's just there's some things that you allow yourself to do, or your conditioning or your environment or the way that you've been brought up, whatever allows you to do, and there are some that you kind of shy to experiment with. And as actors, sometimes you get a chance to break away from that and try out things that you don't allow yourself to try in life. And so Beena is that for me.
And then it works at that level.
Yeah.
Right. So for you as an actress, when you have to approach a role like that, which is so far away from who you are, where do you go for inspiration? How do you find what you have to do?
It's different for different things, and really for Beena Tripathi, I had always been mesmerized by these many women who I met who had this very comfortable sensuality, which I felt I never did. You know, I felt that I never had that, and they were just like, they would walk into the room and you would look at them for some reason. And it's not because somebody's drop dead gorgeous or there's something. It's just something about them which makes you look, or makes you look a second time, or just makes you give them some kind of attention. And I think that is a sense of comfort with your body, and that was something that I felt. I was naturally drawn to that when I saw that in other people, especially because I think I missed that in myself. So I think I had already seen many women like this.
There were a lot of references that you had in your head. There were a lot of references
that I had seen, but there was this one singer who I had met at the time that right before we were going to shoot for Kissa.
Okay.
And which was must have been about 6 years before I started shooting for Mirzapur. And I still remember that shot in my mind, because I was sitting with that girl and she was this beautiful singer, and she was with her sister, and her sister had this quality. She was this lovely woman who, there's something very sensual about her without her trying to be. She was wearing very regular clothes and nothing to attract attention in any way. And there was this other girl who was wearing simple jeans, a very sweet girl from a small town. And there was this difference between the two sisters, and then both of them started singing, and this girl, when she started singing, in that moment, that simple, sweet little girl transformed into this beautiful, sensual woman. And I remember I was eating something and I just stopped, and I couldn't stop staring at her, because there was something so beautiful in that transformation. So that sort of remained. And that sort of, I felt like, if she could transform like that, so could I.
So can you, right? Yeah. I mean, and how did so what part of the FTI training have in your careers and as a performer?
Everything. I mean, everything I know today is because of that training.
Why did you want to go to FTI when you started off? How did that
happen? Didn't.
You didn't want
I didn't. I just landed up there because, and that's strange, because so many people keep trying to get into the institute for many, many years, and for many it doesn't work out. And most people who get there have had a few attempts. But the acting course had restarted after 26 years that year.
Oh, there was a break in the acting course
for
a while? Okay.
In the 70s they had stopped, and they restarted with our batch in 2004. So I was at that time, I didn't know what I wanted from life. I had done a couple of things. I had studied film as one paper in this social communications media course at Sophia's. I had done math in LSR. I was working as a research assistant on a gender and public space project. So I was doing all these things. Basically, whatever caught my fancy at that time, I had the courage to sort of follow through and make something more of just a whim, you know. And somebody would say that there's this professor, they're doing a project in Lucknow. I packed my bags and I went to UP for 5 months to assist them. And that professor happens to be Abhijit Banerjee, who won the Nobel. I mean, we didn't know at that time, and I assisted him for a couple of months. So I was doing those kind of things. Anything that looked interesting, I would pack my bags and go. So similarly, FTI was restarting their acting course. I saw that in the newspaper, and I was like, hey, this looks interesting.
I'm just going to apply
I'm
for
going
this.
to watch films every day. FTI had a very interesting history of student dissent. So I was like, there's a students' movement here.
Yeah.
And there's this play. I had a couple of friends from the institute, and they said, there's a wisdom tree, and if you sit under it,
the tree, yeah.
you sit under it, you absorb everything about cinema. I was like, okay, so this is one of those places where you breathe cinema. And also the physical space was Prabhat Studios, which is one of the first studios of Indian cinema.
Yeah.
So I said, yaar, ye to bahut history hai, bahut culture hai. And so I was actually mesmerized by the place. I didn't know that I wanted to really
pursue acting
as a
as
career.
Such, yeah.
So I said, this sounds like fun, and I've acted on stage in college, and I was pretty decent, and people said I was good in that play and all of that. So, and I was always Mother Mary in my school plays. So I was like, chalo, let's go and try this out. So it was meant to be like that. Let's go and try this course. It was not like, hey, I want a career in acting.
And then when you got there, you realized that, okay, this is something that
When I got there, I realized everybody around me had been wanting to do this.
Do this for a while.
Yeah.
This is all they want to do.
Like this guy next to me, and you know how they ask you to introduce yourself in class, and said, since when, how did you think of becoming an actor? To this guy next to me, and he said, मैं तो बचपन से मिथुन दा बनना चाहता था. And he meant it. Like he had watched every Mithun film like at least 18 times in his life, and there was a goal. I was like, I don't know, somebody told me about the institute. It seemed like fun. Okay, so I've come to do this course. So yeah, that's how I landed up in FTI. But about 6 months into the course, I was bitten by the bug, and I was like, this is what I want to do for as long as I can help it. So yeah.
And then you came down to Bombay.
Yes.
Mumbai, and I remember watching you in I think it was your first play.
It was
Romeo and Juliet, which was made by Mr. Atul Tiwari.
Yes.
And Arya Babbar was playing Romeo and you were Juliet. And I remember sitting in the front row because because we knew Mr. Atul Tiwari and he had invited us for the play. And I was sitting there, and I just remember very distinctly to just be taken by the way you spoke Hindi. Rasika, the way every word was just kind of pouring out in the way it felt like that was the way Hindi was meant to be spoken. I was completely taken by that, so much so that I didn't get the play at all. Because I was just like, I just want her to talk. I just want her to say something in Hindi. Just keep talking. And it was so good. And that stayed with me. And when I met you on
the set of Summer.
On the set of a movie that we acted in called Summer 2007, that's what I told you also.
You told me exactly this.
Yes, right? That. And
so nobody had praised my performance in that play up until then. So therefore I remember this very, very clearly.
They said you'd spoken so well, and I met you on that set, and I was like just so happy to meet you because I'd just seen something that you'd done, and I love telling actors if I like them in something they've done and all, it's very exciting for me. So I told you, and then we just spent there was a day that we were shooting, and then there was another day. I think there were like a couple of days, and we just hung out. We just hung out on that set, and we had such a good time. And after that was when you had actually met Karan Gaur for this movie called Pause for Inanimation.
Oh yes, that's what it was.
That was the name of
called.
the movie, Pause for Inanimation, and which changed later. And then I remember it was you who told Karan, because he was also looking for an actor, that you had recently met someone.
Oh,
You'd
I
worked-
recommended you.
Yes!
Arre
It was
yaar.
you, Rasika. You told him.
Where's my commission?
You told him. I owe you a lot anyway. So yeah, I owe you. I owe Mukha. I owe everyone a lot of things. But you told him that, I've just recently worked with an actor. He's a bit of a Jew actor. So you called me a Jew actor, but you did actually recommend me to the director of Share. And when we met, and then it was on. Like I was just like, we met, and then we started shooting with Share.
I know you guys joke about this, but I did not mean it badly.
No, I know you didn't. I know you didn't. I used to live in Jew. I was an actor, so yes, I was a Jew actor. It was absolutely perfect. You never mean that. Yes, I know that. Even when you do, you don't. It's one of those things. But was that the first film where you were like the lead and stuff, or you shot for movies before that?
I had shot for about 14 films in small parts before Share happened, and I think I had shot for Agyat, which was not such a small part as the other 13.
Agyat with Mr. Ram Gopal
with
Verma.
Ram Gopal Verma.
Yes,
So that had happened. Yeah, that had happened.
that had happened.
Huh. And then
Anwar was another.
yeah, but I
film?
had
Yeah,
two
like
scenes.
okay.
Anwar was the first film I had
Okay,
ever shot for. I
okay,
was still
wow.
in the institute. My friend Faiza, who was an AD on the film, and those days they didn't have casting directors, so the
Yeah.
ADs used to audition specially for the smaller parts. So I was staying with her, and I had just come down from the institute for a weekend, and she said, I'm doing some auditions. So I said, chalo, let me also go and see ki audition kaise karte hain, So I went with her just like that, and I did the test, and the director liked it, and they called me. They said, would you like to do this? And I said, chalo, theek hai, let me do this. That became the first part, and subsequently I did about 12 or 13 films more in blink and miss roles, about 2 or 3 scenes, and then Agyat, and then Kshay.
Share happened. And then I remember it was just it was a mother of all independent films.
Yes.
And we made this film over the course of almost 4 years until it came out.
Yeah.
And you shot a lot for it. You shot for, I don't know, about
But you
60.
sometimes came on days that you weren't shooting.
I would just come to hang
Yeah,
out,
you would
and I would
come to
just
help
come to
out.
I would just come to support. It was the smallest crew ever.
4
There was
people on a good day.
4 people on a good day.
Yeah.
And most times it was just us who were a part of the crew. But and again, as you said about Mirzapur, we had no clue where this was going, what this was going to do to us. And I remember on the first day of shooting, there was a certain thing with with the mark on your cheek that they had to
Yeah.
make, and it had probably gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And how you were so concerned about it, and then you just felt. And I remember you spoke to me about it.
Yeah, I called you after shoot
yes,
got over.
Yes, and you were like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't know why I'm doing this and this and that. And I think I told you, listen, let's just see where this goes, how this pans out. And
So let me tell you what had happened. So in the film, I have a cut on my cheek, right?
on the left cheek. Yes.
And up until that day, I didn't know that if you put Dettol just like that, without diluting it on a part of your skin which is not a wound, it burns your skin. So I didn't know that. In my need for authenticity, I didn't want to just chipkaw a tape, because it was taped. In the film, the requirement was that there's a tape. You can't see the wound. There's a tape on the wound. But I said I want that little, how it is when you have a wound and you stick a tape, that
little effect.
the dawai goes through. You can see that
bit.
little patch. Otherwise, it looks fake. So I wanted that. So I didn't know कि अगर Dettol अगर ऐसे ही लगा दो तो it will burn your skin. So I put Dettol just like that, and I put that tape on top and shot all day. And then when I removed it, there was a gash on my cheek. I actually had a wound.
She was getting into the method actually.
So imagine you're shooting and you have a big gash on your cheek. And there were some scenes that I didn't need that there.
Yeah,
So for the scenes that it was there, theek hai. But for the scenes that I didn't, what would I do? So I was very horrified and very rattled. And anyway, when you sign up for an independent film, you don't realize how much jugaad there is, right? So always on the first day you're rattled. You're like, oh my god, even this is not there. And I had done so many student projects, but this was even smaller than that, right? Like there was just nobody to help anybody with anything. There were just 3 people doing this shoot: the DOP, the director, and me. So I was suitably rattled, which is why when I called you and I said, "Is this for anything? Like I have a gash on my cheek right now. I hope it's worth something." You know? And fortunately for us, it was worth something.
Yes, it was worth a lot actually. And I remember we used to shoot in this small house in Bhayandar, where we used to take your car and go. We used to drive in your car, and we used to go and shoot.
And I was learning how to drive at that time, and I nearly killed you all one day. Yeah, I do remember that.
But we do live to tell the tale, and but I have to say, when the movie got done, okay, and whatever happened to it, we played it 12 international film festivals. You won a Best Actress award, like a couple of the.
Did I?
Did you win Seth? Yeah, right. You won Best Actress at Seth, right? I was not even nominated, even for supporting actor. Forget actor. That's okay.
I don't think they had a supporting actor category.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And but I remember when I saw the film for the first time, and I was floored. I was floored at what the film was, and that film was your performance, Rasika. I mean, we have to give a lot of credit to our director, who was a writer, director, editor. He did the music.
Sound designer.
He did everything for the film. Our DOP. But what you had done in that movie was really special. And I'm not going to lie here, because here is where you sit. But I knew that this is going to lead to much greater things for you in life. I've seen the movie 38 times. 38 times through our entire festival run, our theatrical run, and every time there were parts of your performance which just stood up, walked towards me and hugged me. And it was just like, and every time there was something new that you'd done. I don't even know how you were doing all these things. I don't know when you were doing all these things, because you were acting with me. And I was like, I was so consumed with my own performance that I was just not able to see it. And I was so glad to be able to watch the film and see all those little things. Do you plan these little things that you do in all your performances? Because you have these little things throughout your career in every role that you do. Do you plan these things, or they just happen?
No, I don't plan them. And I'm getting increasingly more afraid that I'm beginning to plan them. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
You know what I mean, right? Because these are really things that happen. The best way that they can happen is when you are not aware of it. You know, when you are just actually just trying to achieve the purpose of the scene. You know, and then these things. But you're trying to achieve the purpose of the scene so genuinely.
With truth and purity.
I wouldn't even say genuine or truth. Just with so much intent that and with a kind of devotion, I would say, that everything else happens, and that's when it's most beautiful and special. I feel there is a way to plan it also, and then make it beautiful and special, and we do that also. And that also works, but the most magical moments are the ones where you didn't think you would twitch a certain way, or look at something else in between, or do something which you had just not planned, and you would not be able to if you even sat with the scene all day or for a year or thought about how it's going to play out. You know, you just did something because the moment that was created at that time made you go towards that, and those are the most special. And by that I don't mean that you don't have to prepare. No, that's, you have to prepare so much that this happens.
Yeah, that these things are organic and you don't have to think about them while you're doing it.
That you're not thinking of what to do. You're just sort of being in that world that you practiced being in. You know.
Right. And the Share performance had so many of those moments, and then you went on and did a film called Kissa.
Yes.
Which was made by a great director called Anup Singh.
Yes.
And you you had the opportunity to work with the Irrfan
Yes.
Khan, Irrfan Saab, whatever we call him. And how was that experience? Because I remember you had spoken to me about it. You had spoken to us about it when you'd gone to shoot for the movie. Tilotama Shom was in it. How was that experience when you?
I have a question to ask.
Yes.
Was I nervous about working
You were.
with Irrfan
You
before
were.
I
You
went?
were.
I
You were.
was.
Yes, you were.
Because
You
I
were.
don't remember being nervous at all, and I do think that my memory is playing games with
I'm
me.
not gonna lie, but you were. You
I
were.
was.
You were very excited, but you were also a little nervous. Like, you know
Okay.
what? I'm going and doing this, and this is that film, and this is this, and this is this kind of role. It's a theme, and which I'm like, just so. I want to be careful about it. I want to go and do this, and you had plans. And then
That I know because
yeah.
it was a big part with actors who were so experienced.
Yes.
So I was generally nervous about. But was I in particular nervous about working with Irrfan? No.
Not particularly nervous. You were just.
Excited.
I think there was nervous excitement
Okay.
for the film that you were going to do. But yes, you were talking about the fact that you would be working with Irrfan Khan. And so how was that experience when you got on set and on that set? And
I mean, I think if I have to pick one thing out of the many things that film taught me, and in particular the many things that working with somebody like Irrfan taught me, I think it would be that I think the actors, not just Irrfan but even Tilotama, Tiska, the actors in that film taught me how to be a really good co-actor, and I think up until that time my time at FTI had taught me that you don't direct your co-actor. You can't tell them what to do. Like, obviously that's understood, but also you have to accept anything that they give you. So for example, if I'm in a scene and you mess up your line, I will never say, hey, cut, he messed up his line.
No.
I will work with your messed up line. I will continue. I'm like, okay, if he said this, let me listen to this and see what I have to say to that. And then it's the director's call if they want to cut. If they don't want to cut, it goes on and becomes a scene that the director had not written. But it might be a beautiful scene.
it might just work.
It
Yeah,
might
who
just
knows?
work. Who knows? We've all seen that happen, right? So that was a golden rule that I would never break, and I still don't break. But what Irrfan taught me was that not only was he not going to pull seniority on me. Like, he never ever made me feel in a scene with him that he was an actor with so much experience and I was an actor with, whatever. I had spent 3-4 years doing this and he had spent many years doing this and had such a beautiful body of work by that time, So never did I once feel that here's somebody who knows, who feels like he knows more than me. But he also cared deeply about what I was doing in that shot. That was the thing that I learned. That he was, like, there were times when he would say, ye fix kar do. Or he would say something like there was this one scene that I was doing and there was a gesture where I pulled my dupatta towards myself, and that scene was very difficult for all of us to shoot, which is practically a scene where Irrfan's character tries to rape me almost, and so I pulled the dupatta to my chest and I moved back, and Irrfan felt that was not a good choice for my character at that point, but he was so respectful. He didn't say that to me. I saw that he was looking at me and I could sense that there was something which was bothering him, because when you are in awe of somebody, you're kind of minutely watching them. They're always in your peripheral vision. So I was so much in awe of Irrfan that whatever he was doing, I was sort of aware of it, right? And I felt like there was something that was not agreeing with him. And I saw he walked to the director and had a conversation with Anup. So he basically, and later I found out, not then. And then Anup came to me and had a conversation with me about, do you think you want to do that or not? And made me sort of. And then finally, I decided to not do that gesture.
To not do it, okay.
So later, I found out that Irrfan felt that was not a good choice for my character at that time, and he was respectful enough to not say that to me. We've all worked with actors who also said, I don't think you should do that.
Yeah.
And when you're so sort of vulnerable in the middle of the scene, you're like, oh, is it? You would think, I mean,
and then
am
you
I
just
doing
get a little
something-
conscious
you
yourself,
get conscious,
and
and then
you're
you're like, oh my god, I
okay.
feel like doing it, but they're saying that to me. Oh my, should I not do it?
Am I doing well? Like,
Exactly.
you know what's happening.
Exactly, right? So you get rattled by things like that. So good co-actors and directors always make you feel like good co-actors never direct you, and good directors always make you feel like you arrived at that choice, right? They sort of maybe take you towards that, but they make you feel like you got there.
Yeah, like
so
you own
it.
that choice.
Or you don't agree with them or whatever, right? But so I'm just saying that he cared so much about my performance. I would have probably not done that for a co-actor. I would have never told them to change that, but I would have probably not made the effort to go and talk
to go to the director and just ask them to.
He cared about the film, he cared about the scene, he cared about my performance in that piece of work, so yeah.
And that was such a beautiful film.
Yeah.
Kissa was such a...
Yeah.
Oof. And then, it's just gonna... You get a little emotional when you think about these things. And Manto was
yes.
something that you did after that, right? It was quite close to... So there was Cher, there was Kissa, and there was Manto. And 3 such strong roles with 3 completely different filmmakers that you worked... how was the Manto experience? You went to Cannes as well for that, for that movie, and there's this very special photograph where you're standing with, there's a whole host of actresses standing together, and you're right there. I think you're wearing a light blue sari kind of thing. It's
No, that was on another day, but the day that we had this, which was this 82 women who were
yes,
at the Palais,
that one, yes,
which was sort of the Me Too movement had just begun, and this was to mark the role of women in media, and to sort of make a point about how things are not equal. And this was organized by Kate Blanchett.
You were standing right.
Other women.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I was standing next to Salma Hayek.
Yes. And Rasika, I was still looking at you. I swear I was looking at you.
So Nandita had been invited to that, and she very sweetly took me along.
Just come.
And it was such a historical moment, and it was such a big thing for me to be there with all these gorgeous women who had been working for so long, and I'm such a big Kate Blanchett fan, and I was just like, oh my god. But I still didn't have the courage to go up and say that to her.
You didn't, yeah?
I didn't, yeah. I still regret it.
You didn't go up and say. But you meet her, just said like, hello or something like that, or you just had no communication?
No, everybody was busy, and I just wanted to go and say hello, but I was just too shy. I didn't do it. It's okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
There will be another time.
There will be many more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
it was a very emotional moment for everybody there, and you kind of felt, even though we had all had different cultural experiences, everything, there were women from all over the world, right? And 82 women at Palais, at Cannes, and walking up the stairs, and all of that, and you just felt like we had all really had to work very hard to get here. And there was just that unspoken understanding, and that was so moving. I still remember it. There was this woman, this lady next to me. I don't know who she is. I don't know whether she was an actor. I think she was a producer. And there were so many people that day that we shared that moment together, and she was very emotional, and so was I. And I think she teared up, and so did I, and we hugged each other. And I thought, we should exchange cards, and just so that I would remember who I shared this moment with, and it would probably be nice to connect with each other at some other point in life, but I didn't. And I don't know who she was.
You don't know who she was, right. But when you did that movie, was it the first time you were playing a real life character who actually existed, or you'd done roles before which were already there?
That's an interesting question. No, I think that was the first.
That was the first, right? Yeah,
that was the first time.
Right? Not bad.
Always.
Sangal has done his research here.
Yeah.
That's what we do on the Masala chart. Anyway, so how was that experience when you had to prepare for a real life character who existed? There was stuff about her out there which you could...
So, I think I got away easy, because there was not so much known about Safiya.
About her, okay.
In fact, in the research material that Nandita... So there was almost nothing written about Safiya. And there was so much written about Manto. So Nawaz had it really hard.
Because he had a lot to.
Yeah, because Manto has
pick
a
from.
huge fan following. There are diehard Manto fans, and he had an image to live up to. You know, and it's very difficult to sort of um, satisfy people when they already have a preconceived notion of a person. You know,
Right.
so I mean, then whatever you bring to the table will either fall short or be very exhilarating. You know, it won't be like any other any new person that you are introducing them to, right? So that's a very hard job. I was lucky that there was not so much known about Safiya, but also unlucky because Nandita had to really work very hard to sit with the family and get information about her.
Right.
You know, so there was in
So
fact
was that easily available?
no, Nandita had to work very hard.
Right.
She had spent a lot of time with the family and with Manto's daughters, who then came to our first screening in Bombay when the film was going to be released. And she had spent a lot of time with the family, so they had given her a lot of information on Safiya, which she had put in the script.
Right. And how was it working with Nawaz at the peak of his powers?
Yeah.
Because that was a time where he was one of the most important actors of the industry at that point of time, and then you got to work with him. So you went from Alekh Sangal to Irrfan, and then to Nawaz.
And then to Pankaj T.
And then to Pankaj T. That's the see. It was me who started it all. I mean, I don't want to say that enough, but
and then to Shifali Shah.
yes, my God, that's a great resume. That's just that. Yeah, you can't top that fight.
Yeah, you
you
can't.
can't top that fight. So yeah, so how was that working with him right after working with someone like Irrfan to go and work with someone like Nawaz? And they were both being spoken about in the same breath at that point of time. It was like, so how was that experience for you?
Again, it sort of reconfirmed everything that I had learned during Kissa, the Manto experience, And I think both of them together really spoilt me rotten, because I believed then that every experience was going to be like that you would have this lovely director and this lovely co-actor who had done so much more work than you had, but never ever made you feel like that, even off camera, I was never made to feel like I hadn't done all those films that Nawaz had done, So, and with Nawaz, it felt like an instant friendship, because I think with Nawaz, it always felt like you could go and share your angst with him, and he would have something too.
He would have his own angst to share as well, to kind of...
He would leave himself vulnerable enough to share his angst, and also have some very wise things to say. Nawaz is very, very wise. No, he is, because I remember once I met him a couple of months after we had finished filming for Manto, and I hadn't spoken to him in between at all, and we bumped into each other at a screening. And I was just so happy to meet him. You know how you miss your co-actors once you finish shooting something with them, and that whole experience has been so intense and there's been a gap, you haven't met them at all in between, and then when you meet them somewhere, there's just like a lot of warmth and love, right? So I was like, hey, how are you? And so I went to sit next to him, and he said, what have you been up to? And I said, not really much. And he said, are you happy? So I said,
he asked you, are you happy?
Are you happy? And I said, sometimes I am and sometimes I'm not. So he said, तुमको बहुत मुश्किल होगा. So I said, क्यों? So he said, तुमने ना बहुत अच्छा काम बहुत जल्दी कर लिया है, और जब बुरा काम आएगा ना, वो भी करना पड़ेगा, और उस समय बहुत दिक्कत होगी.
What a great thought.
Yeah, and he was absolutely right, unfortunately. So yeah, and those were words of wisdom that I keep recalling and go back to when I have to do some work which I'm not 100% creatively inclined with. So yeah.
But those have been few and far in between, because you've been a part of two of my favorite web shows, the shows that I've done. If I have a top 5 or a top 10, I think the top 3 would feature Mirzapur, which is the most entertaining show I've ever seen, and a show called Delhi Crime, and which is about to come out with its 3rd season soon. But you've been a part of that, and that first season, Rasika, which is so, it's just soul crushing to watch that show and the way it was made. And when I saw you in it, and it was again you far removed from what you had done earlier, because it was just so, it was you in, for me, it was you in a completely different avatar.
Oh, really?
Because,
Did you
yeah,
feel
yeah,
that?
yeah. I felt because you're playing a cop for the first time.
Huh.
I mean, you've never done a cop, and I couldn't see you as you. It was the way you were able to bring that cop alive in just the way the show was also constructed. There was a lot going on in that show, right?
Yeah.
But the cockpit you were, I was like, wait 1 minute, I know this person, but I don't know this person, and I'm just going to get to know this cop through this performance. But because it was just very exciting for me to see you completely let go of who you were, and you weren't playing a period piece. It was, I mean, it was in the past, but it wasn't a period piece. It was still like a modern story. And just the way you did that, and just the way you kept your thing, for me, it was very exciting to watch. I don't even know how, I mean, how exciting it was for you to do it, but I'm sure when you were doing it, it wasn't easy. It's not an easy performance. It's not an easy show to be a part of with all that emotion, all that intensity. So, was that the first time you were doing something so hard hitting in that sense, if for lack of a better word?
No, I had done pretty hard hitting stuff before
Okay,
that.
okay.
In fact, right before that. Actually, yeah, the time that I started filming for Delhi Crime, right before that was Mirzapur. I had just finished
Okay, right, okay.
shooting for
Right,
Mirzapur, and
right, right.
Mirzapur, even though it's a very different character, is a very dark space.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
And that
Totally.
house is a very dark house. The Tripathi house is a very dark house. And yeah, and
There's a lot of dark people who live there.
yeah,
Even the TV looks dark.
and so that the interiors of the house is a set. And when we are shooting for that, or I'm shooting like 5 scenes a day on that show, because all my scenes are inside
In the
that
house,
and
right.
I'm in almost all the scenes in that house, right? So I remember when Divyendu and I were shooting for season 1. At one point, Divyendu and I are just sitting next to each other. Nobody has anything to say. We are so spent. Right? Khatam, they have nothing to offer to anybody. And then suddenly Divyendu turns to me and says, "Kuch zyada hi dark nahi ho gaya?" And I'm like, yeah. He just said what I was feeling, what was churning inside me all this while. So that had been intense, though in a very different way. I
Yeah,
have to say.
because
But what would probably be sort of intense in a similar way, sorry to sort of
no. We yeah.
I don't mean to make these experiences reductive in any way, but right before that was a film called Hamid, which I had
Hamid,
done.
Which is a very special film for you.
For me,
You
yeah.
really like that film. I know you've spoken about it.
And
Oh.
so I that in which I play a Kashmiri woman whose husband is missing, and when I was offered that part, I said मुझे नहीं करना है, because आप वहाँ से किसी को कास्ट करो, क्योंकि मुझे नहीं पता how it, I don't know the experience, and I don't know if I will be able to understand the experience of somebody who's lived in a conflict situation for such a long time, and so I said, I don't think I'll be able to do it. You please cast somebody from there. And they tried and they couldn't find somebody, and they came back to me and they said, we really feel that the director was very sweet, and he said, I really feel you can do this, and I know you'll be able to do it. And he really encouraged me. So I said, okay, I'll take the plunge. And I went and I prepared for that part, and that was very intense as well.
Right.
So I think
So you just went from one intense role to the other.
yeah, those
Like
months were,
that.
now that I think of it, yeah, they were pretty continuous. And but Delhi Crime, I felt I knew this person. Neeti Singh was somebody who I felt I knew. Like, she was me on my college days, It was, and I just had to sort of, and a part of me still wanted to be that. So I was very happy to be Neeti Singh. Because I was like, where is that idealistic person who thought they could change the world? So I was very happy to be her. And funnily enough, it was shot very close. We were staying very close to my college.
Where the show was shot. Okay.
When we were filming, we were living very close to LSR. So somehow it just put me back in that Delhi University, being a student in LSR days, which is such a beautiful experience for me. So it kind of really put me back there immediately. And yeah, but when you finish shooting for something that intense, you realize that it did leave an impact on you. What exactly it did to you, you can't tell, because these experiences are so uh, they're so felt, they're subliminal. You can't really say कि इसकी it really affected me.
इससे मुझे ये हुआ.
Yeah,
you can't pinpoint what it was
at all. In fact, it just becomes a part of your life, and you realize much later probably that maybe it was because of this, and you can't really say whether it was or not. Hamid had really sort of, I'd worked very hard towards it, so I had read a lot of material, I had watched many documentaries, I'd spent a lot of time with women in Kashmir, and just trying to sort of pick up the accent a little bit and all of that. And because I was so nervous that I will not be able to do justice to this part, and I didn't want to leave any stone unturned, and I was doing all of this work, and by the end of it, there was some 3 months later, I was sitting and talking to Mukul, my husband, about this woman and what she had, what Ishrat had gone through and all of that. And suddenly I was like weeping for some 45 minutes, and Mukul's like, isko kya ho gaya? so yeah, I guess there are some you're meant to carry these experiences with you. They've become a part of your life. You have to feel like you lived it, right? Otherwise it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, and the attempt is always to go there, and the worry is that you won't. And the worry is not the opposite, ki what will stay with me. The worry is that nothing will. That is the worry. So,
but these things stay.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope that we are able to do work which kind of affects you. That's the ask of this job. I mean, so yeah.
And then you've done season 2, and and that came out, and
Delhi Crime.
Yes, and now you're working on season 3 as
finished shooting for season 3.
You finished Delhi Crime season 3. Rasika has finished shooting for it.
Yeah.
So how does that? So that's a very interesting thing. 3 seasons of 2 shows now. A Mirzapur and a Delhi Crime. You've gone through 3 seasons. How do things change from season to season for you as an actress? What do you feel happens? Does it still stay as fresh? How do you keep it fresh for yourself to keep going from?
Well, fresh though is easy because I have very bad memory anyway, as you know. So I forget things. I need friends around me to remind me how I was feeling about something. And that's why I asked you that question. Was I nervous before Kissa? Because
right.
I know that my memory is very convenient. It remembers what it remembers
what it wants to, but then it also
not even sometimes what it wants to, So I have like eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. So I arrive at something, and my director's always stunned because and Tanuj, the director of Delhi Crime 2 and 3 in particular, has pointed this out many times. He's like, you were so invested in this when we were shooting, and now I'm telling you, and you're like, what? Did I say that? Did I think that? So that is easy for me. That's not difficult. The worry is that I've forgotten what I need to remember. So then I have to, and I've always been confused about, should I watch a previous season before I...
Do you watch the previous season before you go on to shoot?
So earlier I didn't. But now sometimes there's information which you need. Like, something that information-wise was present in the earlier season. Carried forward, which you don't want to forget. That information is valuable for you in this season. But you don't want to watch your performance so many times that you subconsciously start mimicking what you did instead of it being a lived experience, So I don't know the correct answer to it. I am still on the fence about whether you should watch it or not, and I guess I'm trying a little bit of both to figure what I should be doing, because there are some things that you put into this character which are good and nice, but there are some things which you don't want to just mimic either. You want it to just your body to respond to things and for them to just happen. So yeah, I'm on the fence about that. But I have to say, I have felt as a performer with every season that we lose a little bit of the show.
Do you feel that?
I feel that. I don't know whether it's just because it's not new anymore, or whether it's... I'm saying as a whole. For your own character, there are always new things. There's always something new that this person is doing because the story dictates that or whatever. And that's always interesting because there's a little bit and there's a little bit you don't. So you know this person, but they're now doing different things.
Yeah.
Much like life, right?
Yes,
Much
yes.
like friends, right? You know somebody for a really long time, you kind of understand their core, but once in a while they do things, they're like, "Arey, I didn't know this." So it's like meeting an old friend or knowing somebody for a while. So that experience is entertaining because it's a little bit of the known and the unknown.
But you feel that.
But yeah, I do feel that.
Yeah.
And I just feel that it's you. There are very few shows that have managed to do
so many seasons.
So many
actually,
seasons. There's always one season that the audience feels ki acha nahi hai.
Yeah.
Even for the best shows in the world.
For the best shows.
Yeah.
For some there are 2-3 which the audiences don't
but
like.
There's some shows that have just managed to
Continue.
Just
stay good.
Stay good all the time.
And like Succession for that matter.
Like Succession.
Succession,
which is the
right?
best example.
Just stayed good.
Yeah.
It didn't drop off at any point of time.
Maybe it
unlike a
became
certain Game of Thrones that we all.
And I enjoyed season 3 of Bear immensely.
I love the Bear as well.
The Bear. But many people complained about season 3.
People are just like not.
Yeah.
Do you also feel nowadays that the world we live in, whatever you do, no matter how good it is, there will always be people who will not like it, and there will always be people. I mean, there'll always be haters of something that comes out. Has that gotten too much?
No, I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. I think it just the way that it's communicated on social media sometimes can be hurtful to the people involved in making something. But otherwise, I feel like you should say good and bad things. Yeah, there's no perfect show. I mean, whenever I make a show, I don't feel like everything in it is perfect at all. I can see so many things which have gone wrong. You know me. I will sit there and say, oh my God, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. And sometimes the problem is I can only see what is not working, and I need people around me to say that no, it's okay.
No, it's good. It's good. It's not bad. Right, relax.
It's not bad. It's good. And then I'm able to see that side. But now, as the years have gone by, I have become better.
Okay.
I have begun to see the good also. But I don't think we made a perfect show at all every time we make a show, and there should be different opinions on it, and people should be allowed to say that, and we should be able to receive that. I know that it's sometimes hard, you're too attached to the work and all of that, and it's much easier for actors than it's for directors because they completely own the show. It's their baby. Everything they put on it, they can't pass the buck to anybody else and say नहीं वो उसकी गलती थी. Like actors can say अरे director ने मुझे बोला था तो मैंने ऐसे कर दिया. But directors own the show completely. It's much harder for them, and I understand that. But I think there should be different opinions on the work that we do, and everybody should be allowed to say that. In fact, I feel everybody says very good things all the time, and we don't really get genuine feedback, and we are not able to improve creatively.
I mean, when people post about something, they want to say nicer things, especially if they know you. And I mean,
that's fine, because I think they just want to focus on the positive so that other people are sort of motivated to watch the show, and that's all fine. That's a general thing, but I think there should be spaces in which there is genuine feedback, and there is sort of I would really want that. I would want people to tell me what they thought did not work in a space where I have the opportunity to discuss it with them.
Right.
Because then I want to truly understand what didn't work, and maybe that's good feedback. Yeah.
And then you'll have another season to improve.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Actor के हाथ में कुछ नहीं होता है, that all of us know. I mean, I want to improve, I can sit and think in my head, but unless I have communicated it to the other people around me and we've sort of worked it out together, nothing is going to change. So, yeah.
So, we have all seen a lot of your intense work, but you have a funny side to you, Rasika. You have a very funny side. You can see that in a hearty laugh. And if you all haven't followed her on Instagram yet, a lot of you do, I'm sure. But there's these very funny reels that you make, which, what's the genesis of those reels that you make, where you just sit and just talk about something very like normal, but it'll just be funny because you're funny when you do those things. I've had friends who have told me this, and they're like, dude, you just watch Rasika go on those reels, and it's like a vortex, and she's so funny, and she's so genuine, and she's so natural with all of this. So even though you've done shows like Humorously Yours and a movie called Loot Case, where which were funny films.
This is why I love you, Sangal. Because you know everything, and you watched everything.
I watched everything, right? Yeah. And you are so funny in them. I mean, those are really funny pieces to be a part of. Do you miss doing just more comedy or?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah?
I'm totally ready for it. I'm waiting. Anybody has a script, I will say yes.
Rasika is waiting for a comedy, guys. Please
Yeah.
approach her for one.
And I want to be in a show like Veep. वो भी बता दो कि कोई वैसा लिख के लाए.
Veep would be nice.
Yeah, I want a Julia Louis-Dreyfus role.
Yeah. So you have this funny bone, and then you and Mukul. I'm going to talk about Mukul now, who's very dear to me.
How can you not?
Who's very dear to us, and I will tell you that I knew Mukul before I knew you.
Oh God.
Yeah, we'd worked together on a play.
You know too many people. You know everybody.
We'd worked together on a play before we had met.
Correct.
And Mukul, because I remember when you told me about him in your life and stuff like that. I was like, whoa, wait, I know Mukul. Of course, I've worked with him, like he's really cool and all of that. And over the years, we've become such good friends as well. And so how's that? Just to have this long-standing marriage and just he's also such a funny guy himself, and he's so smart as well, right? Like I'm just gonna say it, he's so smart, he's so funny. You can talk to him about anything. He has such strong opinions about things. It's so much fun to hang out with Mukul, right? And I mean, just to so how is it to be married to Mukul and to just have him in your life?
I'm very glad you said all the good things about him, because if I say good things about him, he'll cringe. He's like, why did you say that about me?
Was
it's
there like
so
a hidden
cringy,
agenda to this?
and you shouldn't say these things in public, and he'll be all shy about it and everything. So chal, tumne kaam kar diya. I agree with everything you've said.
Rasika agrees with everything I've said about you, Mukul, but how is it when how has being married to him helped you on your journey as an actor, as like a performer, and just.
I think there are two sides to it. One is that it's really nice to have another actor you can vent with. Like there are so many situations. We work with different people all the time, and every situation is, every time I go on a set, I'm like, I have to deal with a new set of things, right? Which is both good and not so good, because at some point in your life you want to feel like you know your way around this, but you realize you don't, because every time there are a new set of people with a new kind of energy,
and things just,
and you have to work with it differently, and you're also very creatively invested, so you're very vulnerable at that time. You're feeling very like tender, and then there are all these other things around it which you have to deal with. So it's great to have him as a sounding board, somebody to talk to. He gets it.
And he's a great listener also.
He's lived
He's such a
through
good
it.
listener.
He's lived through it. He's also seen it. So it's very nice to have that. But sometimes there are times that we are both going through the same angst at the same time, Like he's on a shoot and he's having a tough time with something, and I'm on a shoot and I'm having a tough time with something. And I suddenly feel like I don't have my sounding board.
Because even he's
going
he also
through that.
consumed at that moment.
But it's so good to know that. Like he knows that I'm not available to vent when he's shooting, and I know he's not available to vent when he's shooting. So it's just so nice that there are these things that didn't need to be worked upon. There are other things which did, but every relationship requires that, and we've had all of that in our marriage also. But this was the one thing that came very easy.
Right.
Because we are both in the same profession, and I just feel very like, acha, this worked out well. Because it would have been so hard to explain to somebody else the ups and downs of this career, perhaps. It would have taken a lot of work. I'm not saying that those don't work. I've seen many successful relationships like that, but it would have just been that much more of an effort. And I'm so happy that we didn't have to work on this side of things. There were other things we needed to work on, which we have and continue to. But yeah.
But you are great together. I'm just going to say it out. I don't say it often enough, but my wife and me, every time we talk about all the couples in our lives, we really speak very highly of the two of you. And just the way y'all have been for all these years, and just how cool you all are together. And you're just absolutely
I'm
lovely
glad it
together.
looks like that. You've been
It sure does. It sure does. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, right. And so what's coming up next is another question. Apart from Mirzapur, the movie, what's coming up next
that I'm
for Rasika?
Mirzapur, the movie, I'm scheduled to shoot for some time soon.
Yes.
I'm scheduled to shoot for a subsequent season of a show that called Adhura.
Adhura, yes. Which I really enjoyed, actually. I really enjoyed
watched that also.
I really liked Adhura. I thought Adhura was very good. It was a lot of fun. It was a great attempt at horror, and I think it hit home for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So
I'm,
that's gonna happen.
Scheduled to shoot for that also. And besides that, Delhi Crime 3 is going to come out this year.
It's going to come out this year. Wow.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to that one as well. And my God, I don't even know what it's about. I don't want to know. I just want to watch it and I want to experience and just feel heavy about my life. But so with that, I'm going to jump to something called Kuch Tikha Ho Jaye.
But we have to talk about fairy folk, otherwise
we have to talk about fairy folk because
they will disown us. That we
so Mukul and Rasika have done a feature film called Fairy Folk, which
Alekh is also in.
I'm also in. I'm also one of the producers of it, along with a whole lot of people. And Karan Gaur, the director of Share, it's his second film. It's produced by Anukampa Harsh and Shan Vyas and like a whole lot of other people and
us,
yes, of course. And Mukul is absolutely fabulous in the movie.
Shut up.
He's absolutely fabulous in the movie. It's I think it's his best performance.
It is. It's a very, very good performance.
Yes, and the two of you play husband and wife in it.
Yes.
And it's a very weird film because a lot of things happen in it which you can't explain to a whole lot of people. And it's a film which cannot be explained. It has to be experienced. It's one of those, right?
We had so much fun shooting it because it was an improvised film, so we made up all our lines.
So there were no
we came up
lines.
with words that we didn't realize we remembered or knew. So all of that happened. It was great fun.
But yeah, Fairy Folk is out.
And now on Amazon.
Available to rent on Prime Video. So please do watch it. It's a very special film for all of us. And so that's out there right now as well. And Fairy Folk. With that, I'm going to jump to something called Kuch Tikha Ho Jaye, which is a segment that we play on our chat show, where I'm going to throw a statement at you and I'm going to ask you if it's true or false. And you can elaborate on it if you feel like. So it's not just true or false and it ends. You can also give me an explanation for it.
But I can end it at true and false.
You can also end it at true and false. Say true, next. You can just say next. Okay, so Kuch Tikha Ho Jaye with Rasika Dugal begins now. Performing the intimate scenes in Mirzapur was the greatest challenge of my career.
True-ish.
True-ish. Okay.
Not one of the greatest. Okay.
Yeah. It was a challenge though. It was not the greatest challenge, but yeah. All right. Okay. Mirzapur lacked the depth of Patalok and was successful largely because of shock value.
False.
Okay. Pankaj Tripathi gets seen acting far too often.
False. I can watch Pankaj Tripathi all the time.
Okay, but he gets seen acting, like it's just like
seen acting.
Do you know how they say that? Okay, now Pankaj Tripathi is acting.
Oh,
that kind of thing. False, right?
False, completely.
I don't even know why people say that about him because he's absolutely fabulous too.
He's so good. You know, in fact, when you were talking about, when I'm acting with Pankaj, I feel he's not doing anything much. And then I watched the scene later and I realized he's done a million things. And I was like, either I was not paying attention or he's just so good at his craft. And Pankaj makes everything look easy. He makes, and he's not trying to fool you. It has become easy for him. He's worked so hard on it that it's become easy for him. Like he'll be, acha kya ho raha hai? He'll take the script and put it under the tablecloth on the table and then do a fabulous scene. And he's just so good with his craft and he knows these things. He's very, very good. So there are things that I feel he's done nothing in the scene, and then when I watch it, I'm like, my God, I really don't know anything. I'm amateur. He knows his stuff.
Okay, I sometimes wonder if my choice of independent, realistic films makes me too unconventional for mainstream Bollywood.
False. I don't wonder that. Maybe other people do.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe other people. I don't.
You don't feel that?
I don't think that there's one or the other. I think there can be everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I can never play glamorous roles that offer no substance.
False. I don't mind. Yeah, why not?
I mean, yeah, just go out there where all those. I mean,
And it's, see, nothing has no substance.
no substance. Something is
Huh.
always
You can
there,
always
right?
put in something somewhere.
I secretly wish to do conventional heroine roles where I dance in the mountains.
False, because I don't secretly wish so. I play it in.
You openly. I would love to do this.
I would love to do it, yeah. Why not? It's another experience. I would love to do a dance number.
You'll have to do a dance number.
Yeah.
You did dance in the Loot Case song, I remember.
Little bit.
And yeah. There was a little shaking of the leg. Not in Cher, not in Fairy Folk, but
Yeah. If
None-
the film allows it.
Okay. Irrfan Khan is the best actor I have ever shared screen space with.
True, one of the best actors.
Okay, yes, because you've shared screen space with. We named those 5 earlier,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you've shared screen space with so many.
I've
good
only had
actors.
good co-actors.
You've had some great
Again, very
co-actors.
spoilt in that department.
Right, yeah. I'm glad to be one of those.
Yes.
No role I have played is close to my real life personality.
False. I think Neeti Singh is.
Neeti Singh, as you said, right. None of the top commercial female actors can match my range.
False.
There are.
There are many. I think Alia Bhatt is sublime. She's very, very, very good.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah,
yes.
I can just keep watching her act.
All right, with that we come to the end of Kuch Tikha Ho Jaye. Now I'm going to go to something called Shev Puri or Pani Puri.
Acha.
All right. So now I'm going to throw 2 options at you. You will choose one. I will drop the other one, and I will add another option to it. And then we kind of go through the list
And
until
how
we
does
come
it
to
end?
one winner.
One winner.
One winner. Last. I know there can't be one winner, but we'll just go around. We'll kind of. And this is called Shev Puri or Pani Puri. Okay? Right. Here we go. So these are your roles.
Acha.
The characters that you've played in films and shows. And I'm going to go with like a comparison of them. Okay? So, Lata in Loot Case or Chaya in Cher.
Chaya and Cher.
Okay? Chaya in Cher or Buri in Darban.
Chaya and Cher.
Chaya in Cher or Satoshi in OK Computer.
Chaya and Cher. Easy.
Okay? Chaya in
Small parts.
Okay. Chaya in Cher or Ritika in Fairy Folk.
Chaya and Cher.
Chaya in Cher. Chaya in Cher or Savita Kapoor in A Suitable Boy.
Chaya and Cher. What is happening?
Alright. Chaya in Cher or Neeli in Kissa.
Neeli and Kissa.
Neeli in Kissa or Safia in Manto.
Oh, that's a hard one. Neeli and Kissa.
Okay. Neeli in Kissa or Neeti Singh in Delhi Crime.
Now you're making this very hard.
है ना? That's the plan.
Neeli and Kissa.
Neeli in Kissa or Beena Tripathi in Mirzapur.
Neeli and Kissa.
Neeli in Kissa is the winner of this. And now, since it's you, I'm going to go to some of your co-actors and we're just going to go down that list. Yeah,
Yaar,
I'm going
aise
to just
mat
make it
karo
like
yaar.
really tricky. Now, that's the whole idea.
No, I don't want to piss off anyone.
You're not going to piss off anyone, don't worry.
I'm not piss off, but I don't want them to
Because
feel bad.
they won't feel bad.
Okay.
It's coming from you. They know it is coming from a genuine place.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Right.
I mean, we have to choose between them how? On what is the criteria?
Whatever you feel like. I'm going to give you 2 options. You can choose one.
No, you need to give me one
One trick. Okay.
one trail of thought.
who
Like,
you-
is it the best co-actors or like the people?
How about we do a mixture of both?
नहीं होता ना वो.
नहीं होता है. So, okay, the best co-actor. Then let's not go to the people. Or you want to go to the people?
So the best co-actor.
In-
it doesn't
in
mean
what?
best actor.
No,
Best,
yes.
I mean, it just matched.
You are the best actor in the combination. So we are going.
I meant that somebody who is a better co-actor need not be as good an actor as the other.
Yes,
like that.
yes, yes. Like me. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off with Alekh Sangal or Purab Kohli.
Yaar, Alekh Sangal.
I'm going to be dropped very soon, but that's okay. I'm right here. Alekh Sangal or Vipul Goyal.
Alekh Sangal.
Alekh Sangal or Ishwak Singh.
Alekh Sangal.
Alekh Sangal or Kunal Khemu.
I've done 2 films with you, Alekh Sangal.
Alekh
I've
Sangal
done 3 films with you actually.
Yes. Alekh Sangal or wait, now it's gonna get a little intense. So
Okay.
Feel free. Feel free to do what you feel like doing, alright? Alekh Sangal or KK Menon.
I'm going to go with the number of projects I've done.
Oh! No, you can't do that!
Then you'll win.
I'll win! I might actually win.
Okay, KK Menon.
KK Menon, okay. KK Menon or Pankaj Tripathi.
Pankaj Tripathi.
Pankaj Tripathi or Shefali Shah.
Very tough now you're making this.
That's the whole idea.
Pankaj Tripathi.
Pankaj Tripathi or Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
ये तो मैं नहीं कर सकती.
Also
ये
the
नहीं हो
roles
सकता.
are there, the project that you want. There's so many factors to this, right? It's like so.
It's very hard.
Yeah, it is.
I have to choose Pankaj Tripathi.
Pankaj Tripathi or Irrfan Khan.
Irrfan Khan.
Irrfan Khan or Mukul Chadda.
Irrfan Khan.
Okay.
That was
Alright.
the best.
That was it also came out really quick.
Yeah.
Well, so that was the chat. That was the chat that we were supposed to have.
And now I can
superlatives.
start the interview with
Yeah,
you.
yes, and now you can ask me whatever you feel like.
Yeah.
But Rasika, when I said you're my favorite actress, I was not joking. I have worked with you. I have seen you work all these years, and you've just, to me, you just keep getting better with everything that you do.
Thank you.
Even the best performances, you find a new way of kind of creating all your new characters, all the little things that you do, the big things that you do, and I'm so honored to be a co-actor. I'm so happy that I'm your friend, and I feel quite kicked about the fact that I'm also a fan, and I will always be that for you. You know that. Mukul and you are very special to me, and will always be. And I wish you all the success, all the glory, all the greatness in the world. Because if anyone deserves it, you do.
Thank you.
And I love you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Cool. So that was Masala Chat with the great Rasika Dugal.